Hello, hello. How you doing? Just popped in for a quick one. That's part of my experience right now. There's a lot of judgment out there about people that express their frustration at God or source, and then they bypass it and they try and force you to, this is your experience and you created it and you caused this and you somehow were aware. Bullshit. You're a human being with a fucking veil on, and the whole experience of becoming a human being separated from God was to be angry or scared at God in the first place. That's what the ego does. It gets between us and God and keeps us separated, or else we just snap back to be part of God all the time. The whole experience of duality requires something to be inserted between us and God to be able to exist as a fragment or a fractal of God. So once you become aware of this and it's churning in your brain, you're realizing that the only way that you are right now a human being in a human avatar is to be separated from God, or else we would just be part of the collective of God. And this creates a whole bunch of strangeness inside of our brain, because now we're like, okay, I'm a part of God, and why don't I have the power of God? Why don't I have all these things? Well, you agreed to have a veil planted on you. You agreed to separate from your godlike powers, your godlike abilities, to have an experience of density so that you could have learning, you could have dark, you could have light processed through you. So right now, I'm at the stage of awareness of both. And I'm feeling a human experience of rage, of frustration, of anger, of the dementedness of what happened in this reality. And I'm not okay with it. And it's not all love and light where you just kind of just let it go. There's a stage where you have to become aware and be angry at what happened to make change, to start to shift, to start to become the light, the truth, this will continue no longer. Because you have to see it. And I'm not saying in resistant to it or fighting it or battle, but there's a fucking wound that came with all the crazy ass shit that happened here. The amount of power we gave up, the number of times we were hurt or traumatized or wounded or smacked or slashed or controlled by this world. Once you see the truth, it'll almost want to kill you, because it's so demented, it's so tangled, it's so mangled. And from a love and light perspective, a lot of it looks really dark. But as you start to become aware of it, you also understand that the dark was the only thing that made the change sometimes. The dark was the only thing that squashed the people into seeing things. So the dark had to exist. The demons, the teachers, the whatever that came in and smacked us and hurt us and caused us, perpetrated upon us and caused us to be victims and all these things, they all have a light side to them. But in not the way we're taught. They have a purpose. The light side is the purpose, to squash. How do you get through something if you're comfortable? What makes you uncomfortable? Pressure, squeezing, darkness, somebody beating you on the head, somebody attacking you, somebody stealing your wallet, somebody breaking into your house, somebody doing something that's judged as dark will eventually make us rise up and demand our power back. And sometimes that rising up and demanding of our power back requires our anger and our rage and our power, and us to go back into our balance and take our energy back and our power back and start to say, no fucking more. So if you're angry at God and you're angry at Source and you can't see through and you can't understand what the hell is going on, you're rattling on the door of duality. You're rattling on the door of the veil. You're rattling on the door of full and complete awakening. Because once you see it all as light, and you see that dark has purpose, and dark is there for a reason, and it needs to be hated sometimes so that we'll step back into our power. It needs to be seen as demonic or evil or whatever so that we'll make a choice. When you're in duality, you need a fight of good versus evil, a dark and light. You need all this kind of stuff to justify your separation from God. But eventually comes a point when you express all your anger and you express all your frustration and you express all the vitriol that's within you, and you make peace. And God receives it all. And God sees you in your anger and your frustration, and he helps you express it. And sometimes he needs to be that punching bag of reality that's the dark and the light. If they'd been pushed on all this kind of stuff, I'm not saying we harm him or her or whatever source is. I'm saying it created this dynamic process, this humanness, this ability to have experience, and it is aware and understands all the facets of it. And if you can't understand it with a human brain, he will or she will help. It'll give you that push. You'll go through your rage and you'll go through your screaming and punching and pounding at the world and utter and complete frustration. And then there'll be a big quiet space at the end, and all of a sudden you'll hear something or you'll feel something, you'll know something. And it's like, holy shit, look at what was the use of that? Look at all this energy expressed at a thought, a feeling, or a story. But only through that squash, that pushing through the rebirth, the birthing of everything that wasn't okay, and to share it and have it witnessed and born into the world and said, and no longer trapped inside, guess what? This magic happens. Because now it's been heard, it's been witnessed. That was the purpose of it, was to be seen and to push you through it. And there's no validation, there's no whatever. It's just, it had a reason, it had a purpose. And sometimes that source, that God, is the only person that knows what that purpose was, or your higher self. But once you're through the window, and once you're through the rage, and once you're through the sorrow and the grief and the sadness and the pressure and all this kind of stuff, you come out the other side and you're free. You're released. You're loving. You're like, holy shit, finally. Oh, there's a reason for that. Oh, that hurt like hell. But sometimes you need somebody to see you that you hurt like hell, and see you that you accomplished this thing, and see you and all these things, until at one point you get through and it's like, okay, I am all these things. I experienced all these things. They all happened. Now we're through it. Now can we move forward? Now can we be better? Now can we resolve this? Now can we let it go? That's the step back from duality. Once we reconnect to God and we've expressed all our anger and our frustration and all the things that kept us separate, now we can be rejoined. And we don't know that God in a way other than maybe just a kneeling down to prayers or religion taught us. The God is a part of us. God is a part inside of us, and it loves us, and it creates happiness and excitement and joy. But until you let go of all that human suffering that got you here and squashed you into being and got you into awareness, you can't be free. So it's really important to express all that stuff. It's really important to let it all go. It's really important to forgive yourself and forgive him or her or whatever you want to call the source that you're part of. And then step up and rise up. And accept that there was a purpose, and maybe you still don't understand it, but to hold on to all that old stuff doesn't serve anyone. That's what unconditional love is to rise above everything that ever happened. Trust that there's a higher purpose even when you don't know. That's what we're all being pushed to accept right now. Let it happen. Let it be free. And if it dwells within your heart and it dwells within your mind and it comes up sometimes when you're talking to other people, you got to let it go. Find a place in private or find somebody that'll hold space for you and frickin' let it go. Rise up. Be free. Now's the time. This is what's happening. Don't fight it. Don't listen to other people saying you can't do this or whatever. You got to make your peace with your elements of God and release that thing that's between you and your ego, keeping you in a human experience so that you can rise up and be your fullest expression of self, which is reconnected to God, reconnected to source, and fully and completely unapologetic in every facet of what shows up in your being. And that includes rage and frustration and happiness and standing in that power. That's what a full expressed being is. Do you think God doesn't have those within it? If God's a full expression of light and dark, and we're going to a full expression of light and dark, do you think anger and fear and frustration and any of these things is not okay? They're all just things we're working through. They're all facets of being. And it's teaching us. Until eventually we don't have to be good or bad or judge or be separate or be any of these things. We just be. In unconditionality. I be. Wow. I see you're angry. Wow. I can watch your anger without participating in your anger. I can sit and hold space for that all day long. And I can hold you. And if you want feedback or you want a comment or whatever, I can give one. Or I can just listen and see myself in you and you in me. Wow. It gets magic when you start to just observe and be. Because then the story doesn't matter. Or the anger, or the validation, or all these things that just keep us in striving and struggle and chasing. Why do it? I love you all. I hope this resonated. Any thoughts or ideas, just put them in the comments below. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. See you soon.